Right, I'm a tad thirsty. Let's grab it. Well, hello there, Perfect Drafters. How we doing? Are we good? Good. What have I got here? What have I got? That. You know what that means, people. You know what that means? It means there's a keg in. Yes, it does. It's a keg in the Perfect Draft, ready to be reviewed. Is it a special one? Put it this way, after reviewing the Bud, I thought I'm not going to review this one straight after it. So I was quite grateful that Stella Unfiltered came out and I was able to review that. It is another lager. It is, in its standing, probably quite similar to the Bud. Been around for a while. I don't know why I'm doing the pretense. You've seen the thumbnail. It's a Becks. And on this video, snackage-wise, this one is special. Probably not because of the snackage itself, but there is a bit of a comparison, and there's a reason why this is a special snackage review. Now, Becks is the cheapest keg on the Perfect Draft. Yes, you can get short date jobbos now and again, but generally, full price jobbo, Becks is the cheapest. Coming in at £29.90, it's broken that £30 markage. Now that is quite special. So if it's any good, it's one worth considering. Like I say, can often be found on short date. Is that a good sign? Not sure it is, really. Not sure it is. It has been around a long time, probably as long as the Bud, but are they going to keep it for good? Because if it's always going on to short date, maybe its lifespan is coming to an end. Anyway, I've tried the Becks Gold before and I quite like that. So unlike the bottles that you'll find in your local Tesco's, I do shop at other supermarkets, although I often say only about Tesco's. Unlike those bottles, which are only 4%, this little baby is 4.9. So closer to that 5% that you would have found with the Becks many a moon ago. Established in 1873, so brewed for over 140 years, with the same 4 ingredients. Yeah, they might have tinkered with the ABV here and there, but generally you're looking at the same kind of beer. And also conforming to German purity laws, you are assured of a crisp, refreshing lager. So again, breaking that £30 mark for a nice, crisp, refreshing lager could be a winner. Founded by a chap called, or more like funded by a chap called Ludder Ruttenberg. Basically, that chap knew diddly about beer, but wanted to produce it. He was a bit of an entrepreneur of the time. So he hired Heinrich Beck to produce him a beer. And that's why it's called Becks. So more of a Pilsner type beer, but not up to that same kind of quality of the Czech Pilsners, you know, like the Budvar or the Staropramen or the Pilsner Urquell or whatever that's called. Not up to them kind of standards, but still a nice, refreshing, crisp Pilsner, apparently. So not gluten-free, as it is produced with barley, but it is vegan, as it doesn't use that isinglass or whatever you want to call it to do the cleaning of the beer. So it is vegan, it isn't gluten-free. So as a little fact, before we start firing in, US drinkers in 2013 filed a lawsuit against Becks, or AB InBev, for basically having a label that they classed as misleading, because they said that it misled them into thinking the beer was still brewed in Germany. But it wasn't. It was brewed in the US under license, and therefore they filed the lawsuit against Becks. InBev settled the case for $20 million. Yes, they did. And that entitled apparently around 1.7 million households to $50 per household back if they could prove that they purchased Becks. Ha! Eh? Unbelievable. Right, anyway, without further, people, let's have a look at that keg. Let's do the pour. Let's bring it in. I'm expecting some bubs on this one. Yes, I am. It's going to be in the Stella Chalice, so will it have a bit of the old Volks? Let's have a look at that. Let's see how crisp and clear it actually looks. I'll bring it in. I'll give it a sup. I'm going to have some snackage, exciting snackage this time. And then I'll let you know what I think to both of them. Let's go. Right, so there we go, people. There we have it. There's the Becks keg. Beck & Co. 1873. That's where it says that. Perfect draft. Yeah. Just looking for anything else on here. Yeah, it's got a lot of German around the back there. It's just a famous Becks kind of label, isn't it? You know, if they produced that to me, I wouldn't go, right, that's German. Apart from there being a bit of German on it. Got a key and a shield. No idea what that's about. Anyway, it's a red and silver type badge with Becks on the front on a green background. It's Becks. Let's try it. Okay, so we're honed in on the old porridge. Got my Stella chalice. I like to think now that with this glass, as I compare a few different lagers, it gives them all a fair chance. Fair chance of bubs, because this glass is a belter. Anyway, let's do the pour, peeps. Did start to tilt a little bit soon there, maybe, but not bad. Not bad. Yeah, happy with that pour. Let's bring her in. Okay, so there she blows. If you're skipping to this part of the video, it's not a Stella, it's a Becks. Look at those bubs. Firing up the glass. Lovely foamy white head. Looking good. Yeah. I mean, that does look crisp. It does look Pilsner-like. It's looking clear. Compared to that haziness of that Stella Artois unfiltered last time. Yeah, you can see through this that bit better. Look, that's looking all right so far. For a £30 keg. Yeah, can't argue with the looks. But let's face it, people. It's about the taste. Let's give it a go. Right. I'm a tad thirsty. Let's grab it. Look at you. Right. Has lost its head a little bit. I mean, that's even with a little tippy toppy too. But look, it's looking all right. It's looking all right. It's got more straight bubs. I've seen more. I've seen less. There was less on that bud, although I was still surprised at the amount on that bud. Right. Without further, people, let's get stuck into this Becks. Cheers. Let's have a go. It ain't awful. It's not awful. But it ain't great. I think coming off the bounce of that Stella Unfiltered is a little bit unfair to it. It would have been a fairer comparison to this little belter coming on the back of that bud, but it hasn't done. And, you know, I've really been on a, you know, Bud, Stella Unfiltered, Becks kind of journey, an up and down journey. And, yeah, it is refreshing, you can say. It is refreshing enough. It is. It's got some decent carbonation. Not awful at all. Midsummer, £30 a keg, mates round. They're going to be happy enough with that. You know, give it to them. Let them have it. You know, don't charge them. You know, got Stella Unfiltered on, maybe get them to give you a quid. £1 a pint, they're still happy, hopefully. I'm only joking. Don't charge your mates. But that, you know, it's not bad. If you get that on a short date, you know, you're not lost out too much there. It's drinkable. But there is a bit of an aftertaste. Now, I was never a fan of Becks in a bottle. you could tell I was from Leicester there. Bottle basically didn't use the T's. Anyway, that, yeah, I was never a fan of Becks in the bottle. I really wasn't. So they're more posh then. And it's because it has got that kind. It's got a bit of a funny metallic, I think, aftertaste. A little bit like how the Tennants did in a tin. And if you breathe out a little bit when you've drank it, there's a bit of a funny, I don't know, kind of gassy, that might just be my breath. I did have a Scotch egg. At lunch. Now, there's a kind of a gassy kind of taste almost to it, I think. It's not awful. You know, it is crispy enough. There's definite crispiness about it. It's refreshing. You could fire a fair few of them down, you know, although it is 4.9. So don't let it fool you. It's not 4% like in the bottles. Mouthfeel is all right. You know, it's got that crispiness to it. The bubs are there. I just don't like the aftertaste. And that, for me, that ruins it. It wrecks it. Right. I guess, again, it's got its time and its place. If it's mass consumption, a party, you don't want to spend too much. You've got some short daters. You know, might have done all right with that. Before I grade it, let's have some snackage. Now then, there's a reason why this snackage is a bit special. And it's because I've been promising, even before these videos, before Big Bold Reviews was ever a thing, believe it or not, before it was a thing, I said I'd review this snack. Now, the mate, I will, you know, blur out his name and his face, although he has got sunglasses in his profile pic, for privacy purposes. But I will flash up his post just here. Here we go. And I will read it verbatim. Audi flaming hot monster claws. Flame, 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 all emojis. They smash monster munch! Exclamation mark. He means it. Now, I've not made up the number of comments. Yes, there's 193 comments on that post. Needless to say, that's his most popular post. So look, there's controversy around this, and I thought, I've got to settle it. There's only one way of doing it. Get myself some Monster Munch Flaming Hot. Get myself some Monster Claws Flaming Hot. And do a little comparison. So there they are. I'm normally more of a fan of pickled onion, but his statement was around the Flaming Hot flavour. Let's have a look at the package first. Walker's Monster Munch. Were they always Walker's? Don't know. I've got a feeling there might have been KP back in the day. But anyway, Walker's are the owners now. It's a 20-gram bag. It's part of a multi-pack. Because I did want some pickled onion. There's normally a bit of blurb on Monster Munch. Miniature monsters with big crispy heads. You know, I think they said similar on the Giants, which are big. Or crunchy claws plucked straight from flaming hot beasts. Very similar to the blurb on that Monster Munch Giants. I remember it well. Bite off each crispy toe or its arm. In fact, it's exactly the same. Nibble the sides or stick your tongue through the hole. Yes, it's definitely the same blurbage. I think that's a shame. They could have done something different for each pack. Anyway, that's the Monster Munch. Monster Claws, Flaming Hot flavour. The blurbage doesn't really affect the taste, and I'm not going to put that for or against either. But that said, it's enjoyable when it's there. But these are by Snack Right, the Aldi classics, and our aim is to provide the best possible. It's boring. I'm not even going to read it. There's no good blurbage at all. But they are saying they're spicy flavoured maize snacks. Right, maize snacks. This doesn't say baked, not fried, for a change. Whereas this clearly says on the Monster Munch, baked, not fried, and no artificial preservatives. A flavour baked corn snack. Right, so that's interesting. This is a flavour-baked corn snack. This is saying spicy flavour maize snacks. Interesting. Right, there we go. That's a 20 gram bag. That is a 18 gram bag. Right. And interestingly, as you'd have seen with that post, that was in 2017. Now it does say here, up in a little blue circle, recipe new. Or to put it another way, new recipe. Now, I'm not going to let him off with that, because he could argue the fact that that is a new recipe now and not as good as the Monster Munch anymore. And he basically said, let's just repeat it one more time. They smash Monster Munch. Big claim. Let's crack in. I'm opening the Monster Munch. I'm opening the Aldi Monster Claws Flaming Hot. Let's do a size comparison right from the offset. I've even seen people saying, look, they're the same. They're actually the same. They make them for them. Walkers make them for Aldi. Not sure. Let's have a look at that comparison there. Look at them. Yeah? Look at them. Now, I've got to say, I'm not biased either way. Just because he said that, and it does, from my tone, make it sound like I'm going to say Walker's Monster Munch is better. I've got no bias either way. If those Monster Claws are better, I'm saying so. Right. But I think it's worth bringing those in a little bit closer, just for a close-up comparison. So there we go. Let's have a look at those. Yeah, zoomy, zoomy. Zoomy to me. Let's go. Well, what I will say from the impressions is obviously that's bigger. That is the Monster Munch. That is the, Monster Claw. Hole's about the same, but look, the spread of that claw is very strange, like an alien toe. Both got 4 toes. The Aldi one looks a bit darker. Yeah, could be more flavoursome, but let's see. Right, I'm going to go for the Monster Munch first. Here we go. Okay, cleanse the palito. And now for the Monster Claw. Monster Munch. Monster Claw. Right, I'm going to have a look, because I'll tell you what, just making sure they don't make them for them. I mean, it does just say specially produced for Aldi stores. Because I'll tell you something right now, there's not a massive difference. And on that first claw comparison, I actually did prefer the Monster Claw from Aldi. On the second bitage, they were equal. They were level parage. That's interesting. I wasn't expecting that, I've got to be honest. I thought the Monster Munch would floor the claw, but it didn't. On that first bite, I would have said the Monster Claw was better. On the second, they were very equal. I'm going to go in for a third. And interesting, that first one I pulled out of the Monster Munch, it looked a bit anemic, whereas the second two, this one, the second, and this one, the third, have looked a bit more, flavoursome. And they have been. Right, basically, what I'm going to say is, it was 1-0 to the claw. It came back, and they both drew, so it was like 2-1 now to the claw. I'm going to go in for the third claw. I mean, size-wise, Monster Munch kill it, but it's all about the taste, people. Right, I've had to fire a load more down. Bite for bite, I can't see much difference. That's done me. I don't want to say it's equal. I can't say it's equal. The Monster Munch being that bit bigger, have a bigger, fuller mouthfeel when you're having them in there. The overall crunch is probably a little bit more satisfying on the Monster Munch. the flavour is level par. It is. It's equal. I'm going to give it equal for the flavour overall. I would say if you've got a small mouth like this, then probably you're okay with the claws. If you've got a whopping great mouth like the Hulk, you're going to want the Monster Munch. Now, if you're, got an average size mouth, like, I don't know, maybe I have, they're very equal. They're very equal. So what I would say is, if you are a big mouth, have the Monster Munch. If you're a little mouth, have the Monster Claws. So then, honestly, I know it's a cop-out, but I actually cannot separate them in terms of the grading. So what I'm saying is, for the Monster Claws, I liked them both. I liked them. Good. They're good. They're not pickled onion, but they're good. I'm going to give them a 7. I'll give them a 7. So yeah, there's the grading and the review of the Monster Claws at last. From 2017, people have been waiting for that. For that, I'm going to have to give it a 6. A 6. And I mean, that's not awful for the price of it. I've probably not brought the price into the equation of that grading that much. But I'm giving it a 6 because there's far, far better on the Perfect Draft. The Stella Artois Unfiltered's better. But then beyond that, I think the Hertog is still my number 1 in terms of lager. Absolute belter. So I'd get that any day of the week. I'd get Jupiler over it. I'll definitely get the Oktoberfest ones over it when they're available. So no, I won't be buying you again, but it ain't awful. It's not awful. Right then, people, if you enjoyed that video, please give it a like, give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel if you've not done so already. I will be reviewing more kegs, more torps, maybe the odd can here and there. I've actually got a bottle in the fridge. But beyond everything, people, have an absolute belter of a weekend. Enjoy whatever you're doing. Cheers, Perfect Drafters. Cheers.